Oh,
Our
really?
logo. Yeah, look
Hmm.
at you. First try.
There we go. Well, it's really nice to be back. Welcome everybody to the Canadian Bro Show. This is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. This is going to be episode 17 of the second iteration, which is all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Raleigh. I'm Pauly, and that's Raleigh, the handsome dude to my left and your right, with the head the size of a small nation in some areas of the world. But there's a lot of brains in there, and is the co-host of the most. Happy to have him. We're really happy to do episode 17 of the Canadian
Yeah.
Bro Show in the second iteration. Trent, welcome. We're going to have a good show today. I know
Yeah.
Trent's pumped. I'm pumped. Just to talk about the episode 17 is if you watch the ticker below and you're more enamored with the dynamic presence of our synergy as friends for over 40 years, I completely understand. But in the bottom, as you'll see, the new episode 17, here
Yeah.
comes the Lakers,
Here
or
comes the
here
Lakers.
comes the Lakers,
Oh,
as
the
I
Lakers.
might say,
I'm
with
so excited.
far too many vino teas in my system, but not today. Is this the Lakers' 18th Lakers championship? Is
I
that a
still
possibility?
hopefully
And
not.
I hope so because I'm a Lakers fan. And but Trent's been kind enough to actually suggest that this will be the topic of today's episode. So
Opening start, yeah.
and he just is not a big Lakers fan, but that's okay because we are hoop junkies and we love basketball. Trent, how are things in St. Paul? I noticed you sent me a photo. Still snow on the golf course.
Oh yeah. Tons of snow, but it's warm, +5, beautiful out.
Nice, nice. Are you in the
Lots
jacuzzi yet with cocktails at the end of the day?
yesterday. Yeah, last night about 8
Wow.
o'clock, got in and not had a cocktail, just got in and then
Well, no,
slept like
that's
a baby.
fine. Doesn't matter. You could have Kool Aid. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying
Yeah.
a
So,
beverage, whatever.
nope. So it's nice. Been nice, nice and sunny. Lots of
Cool.
ball on. There's all the local basketballs happening coming up this next week with zones and spa championships and stuff like that. So lots of stuff going on.
As for those that aren't hoop junkies, March Madness is upon us, and today is the first day
Yeah.
of March. I'm in Kelowna right now. It feels like the first day of spring. It's so beautiful. I was out in the house, getting out and about, and looking forward to getting the house ready for summer, a long summer, a hot summer. But Trent, as the title of the show, let's get into the Lakers. Let's get into now. We're going to do a breakdown. The show's got we have a bunch of different areas that we're going to go in, but we really want to start off talking about the influence of the trade and getting the best international player on the planet at 25 years old. Just turned 26, by the way, a couple of days ago, and had a triple double on his birthday.
Is he
And
the best international player?
he is the best international player in the world.
I'm sorry, there's this guy named Nikolai Jokic that might have arguments.
Best young
Okay.
international player.
Okay. That's
But
a
you're
little.
right. Jokic is going to win the MVP. Honestly, he's going to win the MVP this year. He's having his best year, and he's won three MVPs before. But statistically, he's dominating. And the Denver Nuggets, all of their players, they'll do anything the Joker asks. It's incredible. We'll talk about them later.
Yeah.
But this show is really about the trade that the Lakers fell into the lap, if you
Oh yeah.
will, and got the best youngest superstar, international superstar in the
But
world. There's only a difference of 6 years between these two chaps. They're both incredible. Put them on the same team and have world domination for a decade, probably. But that's what the Lakers are trying to do, and that's what this show's about initially. And that I'm a huge Lakers fan. The Lakers have 17 NBA championships, which is really quite remarkable since the pretty much before the Minneapolis Lakers changed into the Los Angeles Lakers in the I think late 50s, early 60s. But what's happened with the current trade? The Lakers have won 5 games in a row. They are now currently in fourth place. We're going to talk about Eastern and Western Conference at the end of our show. And Trent's going to do a fantastic NCAA Division One March Madness prelim. We're going to do Eastern and Western at the end. We're going to talk about fantasy basketball, and we're going to talk about the NCAA, what's happening right now, and anything else that pops into our minds. In the meantime, Being a non-Lakers fan, Trent, tell
Yeah.
all of our all the people that watch our show,
Yeah.
what is it that is intriguing about the Lakers at this point right now?
Sure. I think the thing that's probably getting overlooked the most is their defense. All of a sudden, this last 5, 6 games, Dorian Finney-Smith and Vanderbilt are huge difference makers. These guys are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", big wingspans. I mean, Finney-Smith was guarding Steph Curry the other night when they
I
played
know.
the Warriors.
I saw he's picking him up 3 quarters.
Oh, and Vanderbilt too, and being
Yeah.
physical with them and stuff like that.
Look,
Um,
Vandy just happy he's playing. He's been out for almost a year, right?
exactly, that's what I mean. So these guys, they're playing defense, playing better defense, and it's just kind of coming together a little bit. And they're doing this without Doncic even shooting the ball that well. He's not really. He hits shots here and there, but percentage wise, he's not shooting the ball that great so far.
Well, they
So
did
it's
last game, and it's only been 3 games. So,
that's what I mean.
it's a good
That's
point. But I mean, give him a look. He's
no,
lost 30 pounds in just a couple of weeks from showing up at the Lakers overweight, hungover, and bloated. And he's down. Apparently, he's down to 250.
sucks for Dallas that he was doing that. They should have got more for him, but other
Yeah,
teams probably
totally.
looked at him and said, "Look at this fat, you know what?"
Yeah.
So, but hey, it's a blessing
But
for the Lakers.
it's not just Doncic is the key to the possibility of bringing the king, LeBron James, his fifth championship, and Doncic's second championship. Did he win a championship? No, he got
Oh,
close. They lost in the finals. Well, I really thought they were going to win,
that was
and
a
I
terrible.
wanted them to win. But I really, right now, the Lakers, I think they're poised with the depth they have and the synergy of team and the leadership of the king. One of the greatest, if not the top two greatest players in the history of the game with what he's doing. Statistically, nobody's ever done it. Nobody. Any
Yeah,
of the
well,
GOATs, you can't even say nobody's done it because
if
the
you put
guy at
two greatest,
42 is still playing, 41 is still playing. So he's got what, 2 more years to beat Chief Robert Parrish for longevity.
yeah, something like that. I think, yeah.
That's incredible, 43. But I think if anyone could do it, he can because that guy
He's
is
gonna,
just
he's gonna do it. He's gonna get it. So if he's still with the Lakers, he'll force the Lakers to draft his other son, who's going to Arizona this year, and and they can keep not winning, and everybody will be happy. But
oh,
LeBron will
come
play with
on.
both his kids, and everybody will be like, "This is just, we've never seen anything like this. This is the greatest thing ever." Yeah, okay, sure, all right then.
Trent was on me in the last episode about the worst NBA All-Star game, and I was slightly negative, I think, for the first 15 to 17 minutes.
You were honest, and it was awesome. You were El Fuego last week. It was so
Well,
good.
it was where I wanted to swear like
I
a
know,
porn
I know.
star. I wanted to just go off and go ballistic, but I respect YouTube.
Lakers are legit. Hey, uh, as a basketball person, like person that's watching basketball, if they're going to play like this, they have a legit chance to win.
No doubt.
It's not even any, and we all the people who don't cheer for the Lakers would say, "Oh no, it can't happen." It could happen, and I'll tell you right now, there's a reason that both the Celtics and the Lakers have as many titles as they have, especially once they once we got into the newer era.
Hmm.
You tell me how the teams that were winning, like the Lakers and the Celtics, were having the first overall picks. The league catered to these two franchises. If these two franchises wouldn't have been successful, it would have been on management because they were given the keys to the league because they needed that rivalry, East and West, different styles of basketball. They needed
Trent,
it. It drove the NBA.
interjection. You're absolutely 100% right. I agree with you. But you look at the history of the Lakers and the Celtics, the reason why they have 17 and 18 championships individually is because they've been around since the 50s and 60s. Back
Correct.
then, there was only 12 teams in the league. We got
Yeah,
30
but
now, going on to
you know what,
32.
though? Even since the '80s, bud. Even from the '80s to now, the 2 teams with the most
Just
championships
talking
are the
about longevity. I'm talking, you have to take
I
that
know,
in
but
consideration.
it's just well, and again, well-run franchise, basically. You don't really see them, in the lottery here and there, but overall, if they do miss the playoffs, they're missing the playoffs by, like, they're the last team not to make the playoffs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They're not just tanking like the
Yeah.
Sixers,
Doesn't
but
happen often. You're right. With both franchises, and that's why
Lakers
they
are
have the
poised.
numbers.
Now you're excited about it. The Lakers are poised to be there. If they're gonna play like this, I mean, they have a shot. There's no question about that
Yeah.
because they're going to get every call too. So
So when you look at the Lakers as a non-fan, what are the intriguing additions that you see working in favor of the Lakers synergy in terms of team?
Well, see, I just like the again, both Finney Smith and Vanderbilt. Those 2 guys are
That's
difference makers.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
oh, everybody else that's there has been there. I mean, they're going
I
there.
think you're forgetting a couple important parts, and I want to talk about the emergence of
Again,
Reeves.
yeah, Hillbilly
Um,
Marvel, sure. That guy gets
yeah.
way too many calls, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, it's because he's a hillbilly and they feel bad.
He's a flopper. He's learned from your
No,
king.
he's actually a brilliant player.
Good player, no
He's
question, no
he's
question.
high IQ. He has great character. His worth ethic. He thinks he's the best player on the
Well,
floor.
and getting Doncic has opened the floor for him, so it gives him more space, right? So that's helped him. There's no question about that. So, but for
Well,
me,
I
just
think JJ
defensively,
Redick has done that because JJ Redick would like to think that he's a poor man version of Reeve, or maybe better, knowing
no.
JJ Redick, and he's not. The thing is, Reeves a far better player all around, and to have a backcourt of 6'8", 6'6", 6'7", and then LeBron, and you put Jackson Hayes, and then you got an entire bench that can play defense.
Yeah.
That second unit, as you're talking
Way
about
deep,
defense,
way deeper now too. Way deeper than
oh,
they've been. Way
but
deeper right
quality depth though. They got rid
now.
of the fat, they trimmed the fat, and they brought in some hungry,
Yeah, yeah.
talented, and they had to give up a little bit, but again, you're right about the trade. I said about the trade as well. The Lakers, it just fell in their lap. It's one of the worst.
It's one
I
of the
mean, the
worst trades.
best trades for one team, and
Yeah, it's a terrible
could have
trade.
been so much better for the other. And AD is supposed to come back. And I love him when he's healthy and he's back. If he's playing the way he's been playing before, Dallas is going to be a
Should have.
problem. And can you imagine Dallas and the Lakers meeting before they?
That would be great. That would be
Oh
so.
man,
Yeah, and the other thing is, it just makes you see how a guy that we've talked about in a franchise that we talk about lots because we've got a couple Canadians that play for him. But this trade just shows you how great of GM the Oklahoma City Thunder's GM is for what he
yeah,
got for Paul George
yeah.
compared to what the Lakers had to do for Luca. It is like not even we're not living in the same world in those two deals. Like this guy just shows you what a genius this guy is. You know,
And obviously the owners and GM of the Philadelphia 76ers don't have a absolute clue. Um,
trust the process, Paul.
yeah.
Trust the
Oh yeah. Trust a $500 million down the toilet,
trust the process. My
right? And
God.
you're lucky to get 80% back if the guy never plays again.
Now there's rumors that Embiid won't be a Sixer next year, and the odds right now, the highest odds of team he's going to go to is the Raptors right now. I'm like, no, please,
Honest to
Raptors.
God, if the Raptors do that, I will. They're disqualified from the NBA in my mind. That is a stupid freaking
It's all
move.
part of my fandom.
Don't
Yeah,
give that guy a dime. Get his knee fixed if it's fixable.
yeah,
Right? Philly's already talking about taking the 80% insurance money
yeah.
and saying, sorry, we're locking him down. This guy's I don't know how that's gonna work out. But getting back to the Lakers and depth, there's only 25 games left in the season. We're in the stretch run,
Yep.
and they're in the best possible position in the standings, as of which we will talk about. Trent will go down through the Eastern and Western. We'll talk about each team and players that are impacting those teams as we move forward for the remainder 25 games in the season. But the Lakers are in the best possible situation, better than they have been this entire year by far, to make a run, and that's why they're 5-0, and they haven't even really hit full stride.
Yep.
Excuse me. And I think that if everybody can stay healthy, we say this with every other freaking team in the NBA because it's just the softest players in the 21st century is welcome to the NBA. Guys are just I don't know, but if they can keep it together, they can go 10 deep. They got big, they got wings, they got guards, they got people who can handle.
They're just
They've
big.
got coaching. What's that?
They're just big, big and
Yeah,
athletic. Like their
really
bigs
big and athletic.
aren't big guys plodding up and down. Their
No,
bigs are all. You know what?
yeah,
The guy who's the least athletic big they have is Hachimura. He'd
yeah.
be the least athletic big they have.
Yeah, you
All
don't have to worry about him. He's injured again.
what I'm saying, those other guys are up and down the floor
Yeah.
playing defense, are active. I
Jackson
mean,
Hayes, and of course you can't say that Len but for a big 7-foot dude, he actually is above
like,
average athletic.
For the minutes they're
for
going to give
size.
him, he's they're,
He's maybe 7, 8 minutes. He's a third center, 7, 8 minutes. Plus,
exactly,
honestly, instead of putting Lynn in, if you're playing small ball, you could bring in Vanderbilt
right.
or Ree.
Well, him
You
and
know what I mean?
Finney Smith and Vanderbilt on the
Yeah,
floor together with Luca and LeBron and Jackson Hayes is look how big that line. Or I mean, sorry, Austin Reeves,
yeah,
right? The shortest guy in that lineup is 6'6", six
yeah.
seven. I
And
mean, this
Dalton Knecht is he's got thick skin
great.
and he's taken it really well.
Yeah,
And maybe they rescinded the thing based on injury but really it's because they didn't want to give away far too much for the player they're getting in return.
yeah.
That's my opinion. But that was our
Right.
Lakers thing. I want to talk about more, but we're in 15, 16 minutes. And Trent, thank you for allowing to
Well,
do a
I'm sure
Lakers
we'll talk
segment.
about the Lakers again. I'm sure
No, I
it'll
don't bring it up with Trent very much. I'll bring it up with other people that listen.
all the time.
But
Oh,
in the meantime, where would you like to go to? We're actually it's March 1st.
smart.
Trent
Yeah.
and I are not filming live. I'm in Kelowna and Trent's in St. Paul, Alberta. And Trent's in his basement. He's got this entire house basement sports bar that I just love. And every time I visit him, I don't want to go anywhere else. As a matter of fact, I live downstairs when I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm in my third bedroom in Kelowna, which is a studio slash third bedroom. It's only about 90 square feet, but I love it. And it's March Madness, Trent. Officially
Yeah.
today is early spring in Kelowna. Is beautiful,
Yep.
and March Madness. So Trent follows NCAA Division One women and men's basketball
Yep.
far more than I do. I'm getting into it. I'm going to really pile into it this year. But Trent, how would you like to start off March Madness? Where do you want to go?
Well, a bunch of great games on today. Auburn, Kentucky was a really good game. Um, Tennessee and Alabama are playing right now, which
So
are
why was it a good game? Because
well, it's
people.
just a good rivalry. It's SEC. It's their conference in Kentucky. You know, I always find too the college games, especially the rivalry teams when they're playing within conference. Um, the one thing I do like about the college game is watching again my basement. I have a nice surrounder sound system. The college atmosphere is just so much more dynamic than the NBA atmosphere. Now the NBA gets there like in big games and big moments, the crowd's into it. It's great, but the college game is like that right from the start. Right from the
So
start of
quick
the game.
interjection. There's only one other place in the world that surpasses the college environment that Trent's talking about and brought up, and he's 100% correct. And NCAA with certain rivalries is incredible, but in Federation International Basketball Association
Oh
and
yeah.
EuroLeague
Oh my
and
gosh.
countries like Greece and
Great.
Serbia
Yeah.
and Lithuania and Spain and
It's nuts.
it's pandemonium.
It's
Anyways,
it's like borderline violent.
this whole show is about all basketball from Hoop Junkies,
So,
Pauly and Raleigh, and
you're
we're
right.
talking FIBA as well, right?
So right now, you're looking at March Madness is coming up. Top four seeds right now are Auburn, Duke, Florida, and I think Houston. Oh yeah, Houston is ahead of Tennessee. And like I said, Tennessee's 5. They're playing Alabama today, who's 6.
Is this
Uh,
overall or East and
yeah,
West?
overall for college, their top 25 rankings. Um,
Everything's
Auburn,
SEC and East Coast for the most part, eh?
it is a lot. Yeah, Michigan State's in there in the top 10. St. John's has made a comeback into the top 10. Can't
Geez, I
call them
wonder. I
the
wonder why.
I
Guess who
call
the
them
coach is?
you can't call them the Redmen anymore. They're the Storm. But
Right. Yeah.
St. John's Redmond was a great Chris Mullen, Bill Weddington, Walter Berry, Mark Jackson. They've had some great players at that university.
Yeah.
With Patino there, they don't shoot the ball very well, but they play defense. Like they are one of the best defensive teams in all of college. And I don't know if I think they're a team that maybe you could pick to get to the Elite Eight, but I
Mhm.
don't know if they can score enough to beat the Dukes and the other teams, good teams in the world. So,
No.
but it's cool to see
Not
St. John's back in there,
not without shooting, Trent. Defense won't win championships. Better scoring will.
especially against the good teams, right? As soon as you start playing those really good teams, they're going to
Yeah.
score. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just good offense always is going to beat good defense. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's every
Although
sport.
everybody says good defense wins championships, but
It
come
does.
on.
It does, but I get it, right? But so the big thing, Auburn, and I was telling you this earlier. So Auburn's one of these a different type of team in the NCAA.
I've got the game recorded. I'm going to watch it later.
Yeah, No, I'm not talking about the game. I'm not gonna bring up any part of the game.
No, I'm just excited. I want to watch them.
They are so most college teams are a lot of one and done kids, maybe 2 years, that type of thing. Auburn, so Oklahoma, to put it in perspective, Oklahoma City, who's the youngest team in the NBA, I believe, their average age is 24.2 years old. Auburn's average age is 23.4. So Auburn's starting 7, 8 is as experienced age-wise as OKC Thunder. So they've got this really older team, and you can see it in these games when they're playing. Again, playing somebody like Kentucky, a bunch of one and dones. You can see when the grind comes the difference between having a mature player and a young player who's been playing AAU ball and that kind of stuff. You can see the difference of 3 to 4 years of college basketball compared
Yeah,
to your first year, right?
yeah,
Really good team. I mean, if you get Auburn and Duke in the final, that'd be a great final in March. But it never usually seems to work out like that in March. That's why they call it March Madness, because uh, 2 seeds are losing to 15 seeds and stuff like that. It's nuts. So,
yeah. Good point. Good point.
so the big thing about players, that's kind of what I was going to try to kind of do what you do when we talk about fantasy. Everybody knows that Paul goes through the disconnected, that we call it now, because it's not can't be connected anymore. but Paul goes through like 5, 6, 7 people that on the waiver wire that you want to look at, right? We add a few, then we do the standings. But Paul always does a really good job of that. So I'm going to try to take over on this part of the college part and do what Paul does there. So first of all, we all know about Cooper Flagg and we all know about Ace Bailey from Rutgers. Right now, those two guys are being basically 1 and 2, or whichever way you want. Depending on who needs to pick, I think you're nuts right now that you don't. I mean, Cooper Flagg to me is the number 1 pick. The guy is phenomenal. I mean, the size.
If I had number one right now, I'd take him.
Yeah, he has to be. And that's nothing against Ace Bailey. That's just. I mean, and there's some other good players, and I'm going to bring them
Ace
up.
Bailey looks really special, eh?
Especially senior. So in men's college basketball, the leading scorer is Eric Dixon from Villanova.
Yeah, he can
Uh,
get it out.
23 points a game. 6'8" senior, 265. There's an
Love it.
NBA body right there
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
Right?
and he'll be a
Good
first
player.
rounder.
They,
He'll be
they,
in the
they
top
will,
10.
yeah, I think so too, but I think he could be top 5, top 6, like kind of thing.
Easy, easy.
He's a good player. But already an NBA body, 6'8", 265. Um,
And typical Villanova player, 3 years in, big boy. I mean, it's
yeah,
like a no-brainer.
exactly. It's just I wish these kids would realize that now with this NIL money, I wish they would stay in college for a
Could
couple
you
of years.
tell people that what
Right? I mean,
NIL money means, Trent, for
well, they
people
just
that
get
don't know?
it's like sponsorship money. So now these kids are being paid by
What is the
who
acronym for, though?
I can't remember or off the top of my head. I
Okay.
honestly can't. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is.
It's a
But they're all getting
financial assistance program.
yeah, but they're already getting paid now. They're making millions. I mean,
Right. It's
there's
like
some
having
people
an
making
agent, but it's not a personal agent, it's a national agent.
like a college now is recruiting a kid and going, "Hey, we can get you 5 million in NIL money." Okay, well that kid's getting $5 million to play college basketball now. I think the system is going to backfire a little bit because kids can just transfer willy nilly for no reasons, even though they picked a place. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not a fan of
Kids can transfer any way they want anyways, and they're not getting paid a dime.
but they weren't before. Before you'd have to sit a year out if you wanted to transfer schools, which I
Well,
don't think is
whatever. I
fair.
mean, you save a year eligibility, right?
But so then next one, a name you'll recognize, a kid that plays at Temple, another kid who's a senior, he's averaging 22 points a game, is Jamal Mashburn Jr.
Yeah.
I like it. You're getting to see a lot of these guys. Kids are playing, right? You got
Yeah.
Pippen in the league. You got Gilbert Arenas. You've got uh,
KJ Martin Jr. just threw down a left-hand tomahawk last night. It was incredible.
Boozer. His twins I think going to Duke.
He's
Uh,
got twins, eh? He probably paid for those.
There's so many guys that played in the league that we watched that have
Yeah.
kids coming up right now. So it's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
Next in college would be this Johnny Bruin from Auburn. Now, 6'10", senior, averages 19 and 11, and he's 50% from the floor. His problem for me watching the game today, he only can go left. He's left-handed. But in the post, he only can go left. And he just kind of disappears from games. And he's going to be up there for College Player of the Year, but he's not going to win. But he's a really good player. Senior, 6'10", 240. He's a good player. But I don't know about his game. When you watch him today, Paul, in that game, I don't know how he fits into
You
the
talk about
NBA.
the Auburn game?
Yeah, it's I believe he's number 4, but
Okay.
John Bro, star player basically, but he's very one dimensional to me. So you can see how he plays. I don't know how his
Yeah,
game
he's
plan.
just young, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course, but it's still. I mean, and then you have leading the NCAA in assists. You got a senior and a Canadian, Ryan Nemhard in Gonzaga,
yeah,
average
yeah.
almost 10 assists a game and 11 points. So he's
Nice
going to be in
number.
the league this year. Yeah, he's going to be. He'll be
He'll be in a late first round draft pick.
a bench player to start for sure. Like he'll be a good depth player in the league to start with for sure.
Well,
And then another,
his brothers about cut from the same cloth. There's not
exactly,
really a big
yeah,
difference there.
they're very close, very similar players. And
Yeah.
his brother's a good NBA player. I mean, honestly,
He's better than I
um,
expected, but yeah.
yeah.
I just
And,
love Canadian NBA players, you know?
I'm trying to we're trying to get a little bit more Canadian content. So
All the
um,
whole show is called the Canadian Bro Show. It's all about Canadian basketball and Canadian pop culture and Canadian real estate.
and then the last is leading in rebounds. A guy from South Dakota State. Another, and these guys are all seniors, so not all the underclassmen here. He's 6'11", 260, and he's scoring 17 a game and getting 13 boards a game.
Wow.
Is Oscar Clough, and he's playing at San Diego State.
Yeah.
Big white kid. It was funny because again, we played basketball enough that you know players. It was seeing the top five players in rebounding in NCAA were all like big white guys playing at these small universities. Like they're all 6'11", 7-footers. Like,
It's just because 'cause they're big white Caucasian players doesn't mean they can be good.
all right, so we're going to jump to the girls' game. So tonight, I know our episode won't be going out tonight, but just so you guys know, tonight I got UCLA and USC on Fox tonight. I got somebody coming over to watch it. So Juju Watkins. Uh,
I've got your audio, Trent, but your screen's frozen, just so you know.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at a black screen right now.
Yeah, it's your
Oh,
internet.
well, I don't know. It hasn't been a problem, but
Well, it
whatever.
has once before, but it hasn't been a big problem.
Oh,
Just
well,
let you know.
people don't need to see me as long as they can hear me, I guess.
Well,
Um,
they can still see you. The screen's frozen. It's still showing you. It's just I'm letting you know.
Oh, okay. Well, better probably. Hopefully, it was in a good pose that I'm frozen. Um, so, women's college basketball. These guys are all underclassmen. You have a Tanaya Latson from SFU, who's scoring 26, 5 and 5, shooting 47% from the field. But she's only a junior. But I believe after your junior season, you can go to the WNBA. I believe. Um, and then you have Hannah Hidalgo, who's a sophomore at Notre Dame, 24, 5 and 4 at 46%. And then you got the one that everybody always wants to talk about, and that's Juju Watkins at USC, 24, 7 and 4, only shooting 42%. Both of them are sophomores, so they got at least one more year in NCAA. That's what I mean about when we've talked about women's basketball. It's just getting better. These girls are getting better and
And
better.
by the way, I just want to bring this up because Trent and I are really we love women's basketball. We love female basketball. We love basketball. We're hoop junkies, but we're one of the few podcasts out there on the internet that actually spends a quality amount of time on all basketball by from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. We're staying true to form. So I love all this information, and hopefully we can get some female fans and ladies out there that love hoops to comment and join our show and subscribe and like would be awesome.
Exactly. And then girls that can come out that are all seniors that could be coming out next year. Um, There are only two juniors I'll bring up, but Grace Larkin from South Dakota is averaging 24, 9 and 6. The best thing I like about a lot of the women's game, and I didn't bring it up when I talked about the men, was most of the men are low 40s, high 30% shooters. All the women that I'm bringing up are 43, 48, 49, 50, like better shots, like we've talked about, right? More cerebral in the game itself, not a lot of bad shots, better shots, and they shoot a better percentage.
Well,
And
and just again, a quick interjection because Trent's 100% correct once again is, and we both coached, Trent and I both coached male and female basketball teams, and we both agree that female basketball players tend to be more cerebral and they will make the extra pass for the right pass every single time. I'm not saying guys don't, I'm just saying women have that extra intuition on making the right basketball play more often than not.
yeah, I mean, it's like I said, we've talked about it before, right? It's just it's a bit of a different game, but definitely more fundamental, more cerebral.
Yeah.
I guess when you look at all these numbers, and these are girls I'm going to start bringing up a bit more that are in college. Um, there's some really good players. Alicia Morrow's averaging like a double double, 18 and 14 at LSU. She actually led the league in NCAA in scoring a couple years ago before she transferred to LSU. I believe it was Caitlin Clark's junior year. She actually
Mm.
scored more points at DePaul. Lauren Betts, 6'7" girl. That's who's playing tonight for UCLA. 2010, 62% from the field. Just a beast of a player. Like so
Just
athletic. Like
with that size and that athletic and everything, it's unstoppable.
yeah, and then Olivia Miles from Notre Dame, 5'10" point guard, 16, 6, and 6. Her and Hidalgo at Notre Dame are just super fun to watch. But when I bring up all these numbers, for me, it always going to come back to my girl Caitlin. So in all these numbers I showed to everybody, these are some senior players and juniors. Put in perspective, Caitlin Clark as a freshman was 26 and a half, 6 boards, 7 assists. As a sophomore, 27, 8, and 8. As a junior, 28, 8, 8.6, 7.1 rebounds. And as a senior, 31 and a half, 8.9, and 7.4. It
Wow.
just shows you the talent. Again, average for her field goal percentage for her college career, 46%. And if you think about all those long threes she took, right, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it
And
is.
free throw percentage, 85%. So it just shows you that the numbers that these girls are putting up, I mean, they're great numbers. It just goes to show you that when we're giving, especially for me, when I'm giving Caitlin Clark the shine I'm giving her, this is why. Like those numbers, they're not even comparable. What she was doing as even a sophomore to what some of these players are doing right now. And these are good players, and they're only going to get. Like I said, I'm excited about women's basketball as it's moving forward because it's just getting better. The women are getting better.
We're excited, Trent.
All
We're
right.
excited.
All right. We're excited. So I'm trying to convert Paul into watching more women's basketball, and I've converted a couple others that watch it and go, you know what, this is pretty good. I'm telling you, at the highest level, it's good ball. It's not like you're watching grade 8 girls play. I'm sorry to grade 8 girls. I've been around it a lot. And yeah, I could live with never seeing another grade 8 or junior high girls basketball game again in my lifetime. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I got for college. And I think we can start doing that a little bit more week to week, like you do with the rundown of fantasy. But that's where we can go right into fantasy and waiver wire disconnected.
Right. Well, nice job in that segment, Trent. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing many more in the future. I think that's going to be a staple for our show moving forward, and it's very interesting. And Trent, you know, I am actually a little bit older than Trent, and I have coached female basketball myself voluntarily, and I got paid when I was in Europe and Austria. I got paid to coach the senior women's team, and the youngest person was 15, and the oldest is 54, and it was amazing experience. And I just love coaching. I love basketball. We're hoop junkies, so we're able to share these stories. But when it comes to female basketball, and to see how all the players that before Caitlin Clark came into, and there was quite a few amazing players. They're still there. One just retired. Deanna Taurasi just retired.
Yeah.
20 years in the league, and she was the first run and gun prolific scorer that I've ever seen from a female basketball player, because I grew up watching someone like Pistol Pete Maravich, who my jersey is where is it? It's
There. Yeah,
right there where my elbow is. Trent
right there.
gave that to me for my birthday. That's Pistol. He's the greatest scorer in the history of mankind. And guess who beat the greatest scorer male history of all time? NCAA was Caitlin Clark,
Yep.
a woman, not just any woman, an extraordinary.
That's
She is changing the dynamics of basketball, not just female, but basketball
yep.
globally.
Yep.
And Trent got me turned on, and honestly, she deserves all the accolades, and she's really young in her career, and
Handles it so
it's
good.
exciting,
Yeah, she handles it so well. Like
very much
media,
so,
she is just like
very much
never has a
so.
bad thing to say about opponents or anybody. Like just handles it with a lot of grace for a person that's
Yeah,
22 years old with the weight of the world and a
yeah,
league on your shoulders, basically, and just has. Yeah, I mean that's part of it as well, right? That's
yeah,
what I
no
said
doubt.
before, and I've said it to a different friend: is she is the Michael Jordan of women's basketball.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean she's the greatest player yet, but what she's brought for eyes, road attendance. If people remember Jordan's rookie year, places like Los Angeles and Sacramento and all those real crappy teams, they weren't getting 30% capacity. When Mike came to town, they were sold out. And that's what they're doing. I mean, Washington's moving their games to where the Wizards play.
Yeah.
They're selling 15,000 tickets for a women's game. Well,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
reason. There's this person that's playing, right? And again, like Paul said, a lot of these people got their hackles up, especially women, got their hackles up about all the accolades she was getting, saying, oh, she's saving the league doing this. Like, hey, we've been here for this long. Hey, I get it. Diana Taurasi, one of the best players to ever do it. But unfortunately, people didn't want to watch you like they want to watch this girl. It's just the way
No,
it is.
nobody does. Nobody does. She's transcended the game
But yeah,
globally.
this summer's going to be good. And
That's the whole point. And
yeah,
it's going to be exciting to watch the evolution of female basketball globally because it's inevitable. It's happening. It's
yeah,
happening right now. It's
yeah,
going to transcend itself and compound very shortly. But in the next segment, for those that are interested in all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley, we also like to do a segment on fantasy basketball, specifically Yahoo, because we play predominantly in 9 category leagues
yep,
in Yahoo NBA fantasy basketball. And this year, Trent and I asked Trent to join me in drafting in the same league under our banner, which is just above Trent's forehead there and shoulder. And that is the Canadian Bro Show's second iteration. The first iteration is all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny. And we've done 32 episodes now. And Trent is just so graceful. I'm so happy that he joined, and we're able to. We've been talking about basketball for 40 years, and do the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley, and here we are talking about the Lakers run. But Yahoo Basketball Fantasy, Trent drafted. There was only 10 teams in our league in this particular league, which is the logos right there, and Trent got ninth, and I got 10th. And those are really tough places to draft for those that don't practice doing sort of mock drafts, if you will. And I'll do 30 to 40, sometimes more mock drafts in preparation, and I'll draft 8 teams. But getting back to Trent and Trent had 9, I had 10. Well, Trent's been having a really good year because he's drafted exceptionally well. He's left a room for to pick up waiver wires, steals, fillers, and injury replacements, but for the most part has stuck to his guns and has a very good chance to compete for a championship in our league with 25 games remaining. NBA Fantasy Yahoo basketball playoffs have a tendency to stop about a week before the actual remainder of the playoffs. I'd say Trent's going to end up playing number one, who's just cruising through it. Dude has been playing really well, and hopefully after this week, I'm showing improvement. I can battle, the second and third or fourth and fifth if I can get in. But what we'd like to talk about is, in order for us with 25 games remaining, Trent, we have to fill those spots with players that are not playing well. They're injured. They get traded. They're taking personal leave. They have crazy injuries that nobody understands, or they're just not performing. And one of the things we like to do is waiver wire connected. And if I may, Trent, you're still with me,
yes, I am.
because I can't see you. Your screen's frozen, but it's frozen. Really, the picture that's frozen is very handsome. You've got good color.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter as long as we're recording. We're just going to continue to record.
Yeah,
But one of the things I always talk about is for those interested in fantasy, and we are. For many of us, the fantasy basketball playoffs are just a heartbeat away, and that's 24 games. Those battling the postseason spot will be pushing the limits, and when it comes to streaming, maximizing both games played and per game upside usage and percentage, value can be found in the strangest places right now. Well, they're not really that strange because everybody's seeking the exact same strangeness of that talent, and it's limited. Whether it's teams afforded the luxury of resting players down the stretch, which drives us as fantasy players insane in the membrane, and those leaning into the fringe rotation players with a view to next season and beyond, whether it's a targeting an offensive threat capable of delivering points and threes, or a defensive minded player who can help boost your stocks, which are a new cinnamon of stocks and steals, narrowing your choices to prove the vital information and players you need to battle for your seedings heading into the fourth quarter of the league, third and fourth, really. Let's dive into the 6 players that are currently rostered on 50% of Yahoo leagues. And this is what we like to do all the time. I use the waiver wire, and since I've been doing it, I've noticed Trent's been using it quite often, uh, more so picking up and stealing a lot of players that I wanted once again. You notice a common theme here. The first person I've talked about, who I've talked about on and off, is Santi Aldama. He's a Spanish 7-footer
Yep.
that is a utilitarian player. Doesn't play any more than, depending on injuries, between 20 and 25 minutes a game. Let me give you a blurb on him. He's just so unbelievable what he can do. And it's been a strong season for Aldama, despite the fact that his role is always up in the air, and he doesn't care. He carries it so aloof, and he comes in and just makes things happen. He typically benefits from injuries, as I said, and players around him that manage to stay the way of fantasy value. But his scoring can be up and down, but he has an uncanny ability to contribute through multiple categories. And currently, over the last month, he's scoring double digits at the 8 of 11 games, which is really difficult to do in fantasy, averaging 13.5 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 2.6 3-pointers, and 1.4 combined steals and blocks in 25 minutes of contest. If the guy's available and you're heading into the playoffs and you've got the center positions really weak, grab him.
Yep.
I
Yep.
know I brought this up before. Trent, the next one I got to talk about is Stefan Castle. I think it's really changed the whole dynamic of Stefan Castle. He used to be leading in the Rookie of the Year, but now um, you're a fanboy of your starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs, who you again drafted so fantastic, is changed Stefan Castle's minutes and rotation. And now that Wemby's gone down, they're playing small ball. So everything's going to change. So I'm not going to talk about Castle. He's incredible. I think he's too early. And because of the lack of depth in the rookie area, I had to mention him more often than not. But the one I will mention that everybody is jumping on, still only 28% rostered, is Bol, the 7'2" son of Manute Bol. Is they're starting him as power forward at 7'2". They're
Yep.
starting Richards, Nick, as the center. He started every game since they got him, and he's playing quite well. And they're having Durant as a small forward at 6'11" with the wingspan of 7'5". My God, what a frightening combination there. So Bol is, I mean, it's been a wild couple of weeks for anyone that shares with Bol, with his role and subsequent playing time fluctuating wildly while the trade deadline changed everything. The Suns had lost 7 of their last 8 games before being relatively healthy, a worrying side for an organization with title aspirations. By the way, I think Phoenix is going to blow up after this year. That's just my interjection. Bol has always been a strong per minute guy, but it was rotting at the end of the bench, and they decided to shake things up. And once they got rid of the Bosnian beast, who is not going to be in the NBA very much longer, I don't think, the Suns are trying to do anything, resulting in Bol moving into the starting lineup. And in the last couple of games, averaged 19.7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2.53. I mean, come on, man. That's outrageous. And that's with Richards in the center doing a double-double and Kevin Durant getting 26, 27 points a game. It's a very fascinating player. If he's available, I
Yep.
would I would take a hard, cold look at him. I'm not going to make
I
this.
took a look, but the numbers aren't quite. Once he gets these minutes, I think is a chance. It's if you're going to take a chance on him, it's probably now.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
looked at him about a week or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, nah, he's not playing enough. But if he's going to get to
yeah.
play the minutes, the
And
numbers
I
will
think
happen.
he is. I
He
mean, they're
is.
playing 3 7-footers. That hasn't happened in the NBA for
Yeah.
quite some time. And
Yeah.
by the way, nobody has 3 7-footers you can actually start for the most part in the NBA out of 30 teams. Next
No.
guy I'll mention really quickly is a guy named Ty Jerome. A lot of you might not know.
Sure.
This guy is out of Virginia. He's about 6'2", and he's like a microwave scorer. He's efficient, he's concise, he's prolific, and he's confident. And anytime any backcourt or they've had a lot of trades, the guy can come off the bench in 21, 22, 23 minutes and give you 20 points, 5 5 threes, a couple of steals, a couple of assists. He is someone that the Cleveland Cavaliers are very happy to have, and nobody else in the trades they did actually even tried to get him, which is just bizarre. The other guy I want to talk about when you get back to the Eastern and Western's Trent, is the Chicago Bulls. Not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan before the trade. I'm a big fan now because what has happened since they got rid of Levine and they solidified the trade, getting Collins from San Antonio, and their bigs went down, both of them.
Yeah.
Collins has played amazing in
Yeah.
4 games, kind of what he did in San Antonio before Wemby. Just got buried in depth. But as a 7 footer, with Nikola Vucevic and Jalen Smith injured, Collins has averaged 20 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 combined stocks, and they have to consider him for a 20 to 22 minute rotation player at either center or power forward. And those are the guys I got. And anyone that you want to bring up, Trent?
Well, the guy who is in most people's rosters, anyways, but the other guy who's made a huge jump since that trade and how they've done their lineup is Josh Giddey. He's going crazy.
Well,
He's
that's why I
almost every
mentioned the Chicago. I was hoping you're going to bring that in.
he is, man. He is just going off right now. He's
Yeah.
almost averaging a triple double here this like last month. Like
Well,
it's awesome.
six
Good
six
for him.
games, 6 games. He's averaging a triple double.
Big kid, and he's a big kid.
He's 6'8".
The only guy I would bring up is when we brought him up before, and I don't know. Again, I just hit the I hit the lucky jackpot again. I guess again, but since I picked him up, is uh, Tamarni Kamara from Portland.
Yeah.
He's just been playing great, and he's playing like 37, 38 minutes a game.
Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
getting the minutes. He's getting the
Worked
usage.
out great. And then let's just make sure outside of him, let's get a little shout out before we move on to standings to another Canadian who might have the dunk of the year so far,
Ooh,
Sharp, that I
ooh,
sent you the other night. That thing
ooh.
was
I was watching the game when you said I was watching it,
that was nuts. Like
dude.
wow,
Tomahawk,
that's
tomahawk,
awesome. Yeah. So
and
shout out
and
to
uh,
him.
and they got big, so they're going to play small as well. So I picked him
Yeah.
up on one of my 8 teams because he had 25
Yeah.
last night with
Yeah.
4 and 5, and he's really athletic. And oh my god, that dunk, probably the dunk of the year, right?
Yeah. Right now, so far, I think
Yeah.
so.
Wow, with
Crazy.
25 games left, I mean,
Well, and before we finish fantasy, I just threw out a trade to someone. I'm trying to go for it,
really,
and I got Malik Monk, Andrew Wiggins, Jared Allen, and DeAndre Hunter for Josh Giddey, Austin Reeves, and uh, the big man Sagoon from Houston. So 4 for 3.
wow.
Yeah,
You think someone's going to bite that?
he won't. No, but I just put it out there because if he does, that would be a big pull for me. So
You might win our championship.
yeah, maybe. So
Yeah.
I put
Oh,
that out
good
there.
for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
You got to have balls for trades. Most trades suck.
Yeah.
Most trades, 90% of trades I've ever had are terrible. And I put laugh out loud and say and reject it. It's like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
I know I got one like that this year. He was trying to get he was trying to get Duran and I can't remember who else, Curry, and what he was offering me. I was just like, "Are we?" I know it might say we're started this league and it says bronze by my team name right now, but yeah,
Didn't you
we'll
say
find
you're up
out.
to gold now?
And that mofo is in like seventh place, while I'm about to get to second or third after this, or
Yeah,
second and
yeah,
first after this week.
yeah.
So in your face, sucker. But
And by the
yeah,
way, everyone will be watching this. It's not live right now, but we'll have it on the next 24 hours or so. Trent is as handsome and charismatic as the voice and this
even frozen.
frozen photo shows. And the cheeks are is because
I love it.
it's like it's his golf course, which he walks his dog. He snowshoes on his golf course. He lives on the 16th hole, and his cheeks are perpetually red because it's just cold all the time. And it's a great way. It's sunny,
Outside, outside lots.
yeah, which is a good
Outside
thing.
lots. So
So it's not normally like this. He has a frozen, but thank God we're still recording. At least I know for now. We'll see how it
yeah,
goes.
see how it goes.
Um, but Trent, well, I mean, it's been a great show so far. We're at 50 minutes. We should
Yeah.
probably wrap things up with the Eastern and Western
All right.
Conference. It's been very exciting in the last while.
All right. So the game the other night. Shout out to my buddy Eric Egan in Victoria that I played ball with and lived with at one time.
Yeah,
He
I know.
texted me out of the blue and just goes, "Are you watching this game right now?" Well, the Cleveland Boston game. if you never watched an NBA game and that was the one you clicked on, you're probably a basketball fan.
Yeah.
That was such a great game. What a great game to
Well,
watch.
you told me about it, and I couldn't at that time, so I waited, and I watched it last night, and obviously it was a done deal. At you could see what was going on, but my God, man, and
Like
that could be the Eastern Conference
the
Finals.
way that game started and the Boston players are just like, get out of here, like talking trash. It was like 26-3. Oh, what a just a great game.
Incredible.
I really love Mobley from Cleveland. Well,
Yeah, me too.
such a sweet, smooth. He's like a
Yeah,
big version of George Gervin.
yeah.
Like just so smooth
Well,
and
a
just
7-foot version. Gervin was
oh,
6'7",
that's
right?
what I mean, like just so smooth. And I mean, hopefully he gets a little stronger.
Yeah.
But as I said to Eric, and he agreed, is as good as Cleveland's playing, I don't trust them. They've never won anything. They seem to always fade. If something happens in the playoffs, whether it's injuries or they just don't seem to get it done, doesn't say it doesn't mean it can't be their year this year. But they have to win. They've got to make the Eastern Conference Finals to make me think that they can, even get to the finals because they seem to never get past that second round.
Well, they did win the championship with LeBron, right?
Yeah, but that's LeBron back when the East was terrible. The East wasn't this good when LeBron was winning in the East. I'll tell
No,
you
but
that
I
much.
mean that it's apples to oranges. That was then, this is now, and I agree with you. I'm a huge fan, and I think Cleveland's done an amazing job. To the GM's done an incredible job, and the culture and the winning. I mean, they're winning and they're having fun.
See, Boston's a great team, but Boston's one of the things that's the problem with the NBA. Just so many threes. I mean, they just chuck it, man. They get four guys on the floor, and all four of them, every one of them is just looking for their opportunity to chuck a three. They're not
You
looking
know,
for.
if you look at the threes taken in the NBA and you look at how many they make and their percentage, they're in the top five.
I know it's
But
crazy.
it's hit and miss. I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's
When it's
this
one
is a
game for it
team
all,
that's built around it.
if it's one game for it all, that's not the style I'm as a fan. I'm hoping my team plays.
Well, they're 31 and 11, and it's working so far.
They're 42 and 18. So they're 42 and
And
18. So,
I,
I mean,
I I think Jason Tatum is in third place for MVP of the year right now, in my
he's having a
opinion.
good year. He's having a really good year this year. He's a good
Oh
player.
God.
The Cleveland Boston game was that was phenomenal the other night. And
Oh
if most people know, a bunch of the top four teams in each division right now are playing each other in the next 2 weeks. There's
yeah,
a whole whack of top four games coming this week in the
yeah.
NBA. So,
Goes back to fantasy too with 24, 25
yeah,
games left, depending on your team.
yeah.
Every game is of the utmost importance.
Denver OKC twice coming up
Yeah,
this
I
week.
mean, incredible. And the thing is if you talk about the top 10 teams, and that it's fluid between those 10 because that
Yeah.
anywhere the three teams below can come in or they can fall out. But believe me, there's 10 teams to 15 teams in both the East and West that are fighting for an opportunity. And the other 10, it's a wash. They're going for the Cooper
Well,
sweepstakes.
let's be honest. When the season starts, us as fans, if watching as much basketball we've watched, we basically pick three teams from each side, and so one of those two of these six teams are in the final
Yeah.
that way, or even eight, let's say, four from each. Because if you look at again, the Knicks are right there, the Bucks are right there, the Pacers are playing better. Again, the team that you want to talk about, like you and I are just show some love to, is Detroit. Man,
Wow.
they just keep doing it. Like
Wow. And I was on such a hater with Bickerstaff because
you were,
of how
yeah,
he's playing or wasn't playing Durant, and now he's got it. So he was just testing out other
but they're
situations,
they're
and
eight
I
and
was
two.
impatient.
They're eight and
And
two in
and
the last 10.
incredible. I
Yeah.
honestly, but Cade Cunningham
Oh, yeah.
is honest. He's the top. He's in the top five of best point guards in the NBA right now.
Oh, he's playing phenomenal. And it's
He really
too
is.
bad they lost Ivy because he was starting to play well too. Finally,
No, but you know what? His fracture wasn't. It wasn't a compound fracture. It wasn't a fracture
right?
of the tibia with compound bone. It was a minor fracture.
Right.
He'll be back for
Yeah,
spring training camp.
but I'm just saying he was having such a like he was finally starting to find his way in the NBA because he was a good player at Purdue, but
Yeah.
he was just starting to seem like he was finding his way as the
Honestly, I
who he
think it
was as
was
a player,
it
right?
was meant to happen because without him, they're having
Oh,
a historic run.
yeah, they're playing great. I mean, it's if you're going to talk about anybody in the East, it's got to be Detroit just for No, none of us, not one person listening to this show, and the two of us would have told you that Detroit right now would be 33-27. There's no
Well,
way.
in the last
we're-
10, they're 8-2,
uh,
and if you look
phenomenal.
at what's happening is Malik Beasley has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, Malik
In
Beasley.
the last 10, 15 games, he's averaging between 5 and 7 three-pointers a game. He's just on fire, and the system they're using, Cade Cunningham gives him the rock, and now that Durant's settled in, they're playing and Tobias Harris. Nobody talks about Tobias
Tobias Harris,
Harris.
good
Eh,
veteran player.
but underrated, but
Yep.
consistent, professional character guy. You,
Yep.
you know what you're going to get every game, and I agree with you, Trent. I think I'm really shocked at the Pistons, to be
Well, then you
honest.
got, and then you got, then they got their boy. They got your boy Beef Stew coming off the bench. I know you're a big fan of Beef Stew,
No, it's
so
just he. You know what he is? He's a freaking goon.
he definitely is.
But Detroit's always had goons on their
Yeah.
teams,
But the
right?
Bucks, again, I mean, the Knicks and the Bucks, everybody's starting to get a little healthy. And I mean, they got a couple of Knicks here. Um, I mean, they're basically where we thought they would be. They're third and fourth, base almost same rec. It's not much
They're
difference.
7-3, like the Knicks, like
Yeah,
Boston. They're all 7-3.
yeah. It's
Detroit's eight
Cleveland.
and two,
Cleveland
and
is
that's
9 and
where it drops off.
yeah, yeah. Well, then you go. Then you got again 7, 8, 9, 10, like you talked about being fluid there.
Yeah,
You got Miami with 28 wins, Orlando with 29,
yeah.
Atlanta with 27, and then the Bulls with 24.
Bulls
Well,
have been
convert,
playing well, man. Giddy is just taking over.
like, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the Sixers or the Nets are going to catch the Bulls. I just the Sixers are a total dumpster fire. One guy
Yeah.
can't play, and
By the
one
way,
guy
Joel Embiid, he's out today. He's out for the
yeah,
remainder of the season.
he's out for the year, whether he's going to have knee surgery or not.
Well,
And
he
then
needs
yeah,
to. He
then they
needs
have
to.
again, you're, just so people know as a fan, as a basketball, just as a sports fan, you as a player don't get to give yourself a nickname, right? That comes from other players or fans. Okay, you don't get to make yourself a nickname. So Paul George,
Or
and
colleagues.
please stop calling Paul George Playoff P. That guy has no business being called Playoff P. If unless you're going to, I would say you should be calling him Podcast P because that's about what he does best right now.
And by the way, he quit his podcast because he was getting so much negative flack. I would call him playoff poo,
Oh,
actually,
whatever. Podcast P, man.
because
That's
he's
what
a
he.
pile of shite. And they gave
Okay.
$250 million to this dude. And this is another example of franchises that try to buy championships.
Oh,
And
Philadelphia.
and maybe it's a write-off, but at the end of the day, when your franchise is worth $8 billion, what's a $500 million on two players that are toast?
The Sixers have lost their way. They really have that way,
Yeah.
management wise. Like,
Yeah,
trust the
I feel
process.
for Nick Nurse, man. I love Nick,
Yeah, me
and
too.
he's a great coach, and he must be just pulling his hair out more than
Then
he wants to admit.
then you got after that you got the Raptors, Hornets, and Wizards. The Raptors, the last night's game against the Chicago Bulls
Wow.
is a total. That was perfect display of what their season is.
Yeah.
You cannot lose that game.
No.
There's you were
But
up six.
Chicago
Like,
Chicago is a better team.
no, but they were up with like 20. All you had
I,
to do
I
was make
watched the game, Trent. I
a
watched the
foul
game.
shot. Make a foul shot, people.
I
You're a
watched the
professional.
game. Yeah.
Gee whiz, man. So, I mean, Washington's at 10 wins. So now Washington's in the lead for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. So
Yeah. Well,
by 5 games. I mean, Utah's actually been playing some decent ball lately.
I just hope for Cooper Flag, if he does not go back for a second year, I just hope he doesn't go to the Washington Wizards. I'd rather see Cooper go to the Raptors because I'm Canadian
Yeah, that's
um, myself. But it could happen. They're only 16% if they come second last,
but
and they
like right
could.
now. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say they could tank like everybody else.
Yeah, they're not getting past that, I don't think. But I guess the big
Brandon
thing
Ingram is still injured
I know
since he turned his ankle in December. This is his career. This is what he does. He's a
it's
professional guy that gets injured that has so much talent, and he just would rather smoke a huge blunt.
allegedly.
Well,
You're getting sleep
he
under
no,
here.
he actually admits that
Sure,
he
but
is
yeah, it sucks. It just sucks. That guy.
he he actually says it's my medicine,
He's such a
right?
talented player, but it's yeah.
I had one of my friends who's going to be on our show when we decide to do the first episode, and his studio is almost ready. said that we talked about that, and he was like, "Oh my god, are we allowed to say that?" And it's like, dude, it's legal in the
Yeah,
NBA.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's legal it's legal in a lot of countries in the world, but in the NBA, it is not a performance enhancing
That's
drug.
not that, but the stuff that Bobby Portis took was performance enhancing.
No, it was a mistake, and it wasn't. It was the opposite.
I know.
It was a painkiller for his elbow.
That's ridiculous, man.
But then they decide
We could
to
get into that whole.
make a martyr of him in a negative way,
We
and
could get into all the big
25
pharma,
games, and he
all that.
doesn't get paid for 25 games. You know how much money he loses in
Yeah.
25 games?
So
Like
going
it's
to the so going so in the East then right now, in that middle parts, you're looking at a first round matchup of like the Knicks and Bucks right now, right? Like the way the standings are right now, with the Knicks having home court. That would be a crazy first round series. So
Yeah, I would have to. Oh, so you want to do at
no,
25
I'm going.
games?
No, I'm going. I'm just going to the West now. I'm just
Okay.
saying right now that's one of the matchups that you could see in the playoffs in the first round would
Well,
be.
there's a bunch here I could
I
see,
don't know,
but
but yeah, some of
uh,
that's going to change for sure
yeah,
because of the
oh,
playing,
definitely.
right?
Most of it will.
Just the core that 3 and 4 seed, those
Yeah,
aren't going to change. Those two are playing each other. Doesn't matter who wins the play in, right? And so in the West, I mean OKC again, best record in the league. Actually, sorry, second best record in the league to Cleveland.
yeah,
But they're 8-2 in their last 10.
yeah.
They're playing well. Just a deep team. Chet back. I mean,
Dude, no, Chet blew his ankle out last night.
I know he's one of your favorites in fantasy basketball. He's a
No, it's just another
GTD.
one of my players that got injured by blowing his
He's a,
freaking
he's a
ankle out.
he's a GTD, game time decision. Those are Paul's favorite players in his lineup. That drive me crazy.
Look, I showed Trent doesn't believe me. I've got really bad luck on in fantasy this year, and I showed him one of my teams, and it was three player. We're only allowed three players in the injury reserve. I had three players injury reserve
It's too
and
many, by the way.
five other players game time decision. I can't even, and I've already taken all my waiver. I'm already at four. I can't
Yeah.
even fill a roster
When
because of
I
this
played
ridiculous.
when I played you and beat you 9-0, I can't believe that with the players that you were, because you had so many GTDs that whole week, but you still beat me in turnovers, which is, or I still had less turnovers, or you should have had one at least, or you know what I mean? Like, and you had a lot of missed games there. Like you had a ton of GTDs. It was insane.
It was
But
just
those are Paul's favorite. That's an NBA staple now is a
oh yeah.
game time decision.
Oh
Um, these players decide, oh, dude, I get too high in my hotel room. I can't play tonight. Like, I mean, hey, suck it up. J.R. Smith played half his career stoned. Like, get it
well, I
together.
know, but I mean, it's not just that. That was when it was illegal. But the fact is, these guys make that decision up in the night before. They're already
Oh,
telling
for sure.
staff. They're
Oh
saying,
yeah.
"Oh, listen, I've got diarrhea and
They
I
go
don't
out
feel
that night
well."
just get after it.
And they go to the strip club and they're they're ordering chicken fingers and
Chicken wings.
I'm telling you, man,
So OKC
it's
in
not
first.
all like that. I'm just saying it's not.
Of course, but it's ridiculous. We know what's happening here, people. It's human nature. You
Yeah,
don't have to be rocket science to see what's really
no,
going on, right? So,
no,
um, but
yes.
again, Oklahoma City in first. I mean, crazy. Yeah, it's a guesstimate. Um, yeah, and then the teams that have made the big moves in the West right now are Denver, getting up to second place, and the Lakers in the fourth now. They're coming from like eighth spot with the way they've been playing.
And Memphis is surprisingly holding. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, these guys.
And that's a first round matchup would be Memphis with home court against the Lakers. That would be pretty interesting. So that would be a nice first round matchup.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah, 3 and 4.
Yeah, well, so would Denver and Houston, so would the
Yep,
Clippers in Oklahoma. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of good shit there.
And then you got Golden State, and now Golden State. There's another team. We talk about the Lakers and how well they played since that trade. Well, Golden State has played a lot better since Jimmy Buckets has brought back his happy Jimmy Butler is playing,
Yeah,
and
you give a guy 120 million and they find joy.
oh, and guess what? He's a game time decision tonight.
His first in 8 games. And by the
Yeah,
way, they've won 7 out of 8.
yeah, they've been they're 7-3 in the last 10.
And
I think. So,
Mr. Triple Single said after the trade, the first thing he said after the game was, "We're going to win the NBA championship."
yeah, he did, and I'm gonna ride triple singles all the way there. So
In fairness, he does more than triple single. He'll give you 6, 7 points, seven, eight rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, a block,
it's
two
a
threes.
pentagon single. I don't care what a quintuplet single, but they're all going to be singles from that mofo. So
People
hey, I
love him
like
in
the guy.
fantasy. I
Hey,
never pick him up.
he played for my team that I root for in college, which is the Michigan State Spartans, and he was
Yeah,
there.
you're a
I'm,
Michigan State
I'm,
dude. I know.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Draymond. It's just
Yeah,
antics sometimes, or you know,
yeah.
dude, you got 4 titles, and you're a big part of those 4 titles. But you also had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. So, like Oscar Robertson said,
And
hey, all you had to
Andre
do,
Iguodala.
yeah,
You can't forget
Iguodala
Iggy,
too.
man.
But like Oscar Robertson said about Mr. Triple Single, anybody could just stand around and set picks and pass Steph Curry the ball. I love that Big O took a little shot at him a bit just because
Yeah.
of the way he was talking about the old game, right?
For a
But
guy averaging a triple double in the 60s, I don't think anybody has any comeback.
no, you don't, and then especially a guy who's revered, right? So,
Exactly
but then,
why.
and then the other team that's kind of faded a little, I think you're going to end up probably in that top five still. I think, anyways, is Houston. Houston's kind of had a little, you know, they're 5-5 in the last 10. You know, they've kind of, I mean, your boy that is always injured, Fred VanVleet, you know, guy can't seem to play more than 30 games. So,
I picked him up, and I picked him up when he had 6 games missing, and he's at 11 now with an ankle injury. I'm just like, and I took him off the injury reserve and left him on the roster. I'm just waiting for him to get off his fat caboose and stop faking injuries and earn your money. You're still
he's,
shooting under 40% from the field.
he's the mulatto Kyle Lowry, man. That
Telling you, man,
caboose.
exactly what I was thinking.
I love it. I love when
Exactly.
you get all fired up about the Paul hates injuries. I can just tell you guys so you know. If you
I
haven't
I
figured it out
played
yet
I
by
played
episode
50
17,
I played
he hates
sports
injuries.
55 years. I played every single sport you can imagine. I played basketball, and if anybody was going to get injured, it was me because the miles I put on my body.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I didn't get injured very often, and because I hated to get injured, so my psychology would be to stretch and be in the best possible shape year round,
Yep.
no matter what. 365, 24/7, I am going to be in the pinnacle of my shape, and I'm going to watch, and I'm going to hope, and I'm going to play the numbers. Yes,
Right.
injuries are part of the game, but I cannot stand guys taking nights off. For me to
Yeah.
take a game off,
Yeah.
especially when I was a professional, I thought I would lose my job.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, so there's again, Golden State has just been, like I said, since that trade, them and the Lakers both, since the trades, they've been playing lights out. And then Dallas, I think I'm with you on Dallas, like we talked about earlier. Would be wonderful if Davis was healthy and them and LA
He's
played the
back
playoffs.
in 10 days.
Yeah, and I mean, frick, the guy was having the game of his life in his first game as a
That
Maverick
the,
before he
the
was.
first half anyways.
Yeah, it was crazy. Um, Another disappointment, Minnesota. They're not beating anybody. They just there's something wrong. There's something missing there. There's some dysfunction going on at
Well,
with that
the leader of the team, his maturity is he needs to grow up a bit.
that too. But there's something going on there that just they're just not
Yeah, they
they're
have
not.
no talent.
Yeah,
They
I
have
don't know.
no talent on the bench.
And then Sacramento. I mean, hey, Zach Levine had what did he miss? 3 shots the other night, scoring like 44 or
Yeah,
46, whatever it was.
14
Like,
for
yeah,
17. Yeah.
crazy, right? So I watched some of that game.
Yeah,
I
it's
see
nice. He
another
fits
road
in
trip.
well. He fits
No,
in well with them.
they're again, they're not winning the championship, but they're a team that's going to make you hard to. They're going to be a hard out. They're not just
They're
beating
two
you.
games out of the Clippers' sixth position.
Right. Exactly. Right. The West is crazy that way. Right.
Yeah.
You have LA in six at 32 wins, and then you have Golden State, Dallas, Minnesota, and Sacramento all at 32 wins and 30.
Yeah.
And then probably we talk about the Sixers being a dumpster fire. Well, they have a reason to be a dumpster fire, the Sixers. They've had a ton of injuries. The one team that doesn't have a reason to be a dumpster fire, it's an embarrassment, is the Phoenix Suns.
Oh,
They're out of the play-in right now by a couple of games with
yeah.
28 wins. How is that possible?
So my comment earlier, really briefly, was that Phoenix is going to blow it up at the end of this year.
For sure they are. I agree.
And anytime you pick up a guy like Beal and you pay him $250 million, this is what's going to happen. He's on the bench again. He makes an injury, decides he's not playing. He's
Yeah,
smiling. He's joking around. I've never seen a guy who I thought was completely sober and didn't do drugs or drank or whatever. Beal looked, he was just wrecked. Someone
yeah.
took him out for a bowl in the parking lot and he just looked. Now, I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying either he was really tired or the injury was really bad or he was.
I don't know, but that's. I mean, Booker's not
It's a
having a great
it's a
game.
joke, man. It's a joke. They got to clean. Durant's gone. Beal's
Yeah,
gone.
Durant's gone for sure, like no
Yeah,
question. Because
yeah,
the interview I saw here with him was he basically said to Phoenix he didn't want to be traded midway through the year like this,
yeah.
but we can
Well,
explore a trade.
but he
And
also didn't want to be traded to a bunch of shit teams.
yeah, that's what they should be doing to these guys. But that's just my opinion.
Not
So
Durant though. He doesn't deserve that.
yeah, well, he needs to go somewhere where there's another really good player because he's a passenger, not the bus driver, as Charles Barkley
Well,
said.
he's a
So,
passenger now, but he's one of the best passengers I've ever
sure,
seen at his
but
age, 36 at
he's
7
been
foot.
sure he's been put in positions as the
One of the
leader.
greatest scorers in the history of the NBA.
No question, no question. Then you got Portland, who's actually again, Portland's not going to be in the playoffs,
No, but they're
but
playing well.
they're playing well. They're making teams work to beat them. They're not. I mean, they get blown out here and there, but they do make in the games that they played some teams pretty tough here this last couple weeks. And they had one blowout in that week, but they played some teams pretty tough here in the last couple weeks.
Well, they
And
they
it's
were
San
6-4 and they have no bigs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, unfortunately, kind of our darling, I think they might have made a push to squeak in, like we talked about last week, but that was before a blood clot in someone's right shoulder put him out for the year. And yeah, San Antonio, they're playing for a lottery pick now. Um, they're not just going to give in. They don't have that type of team. It's heard Greg Popovich had a meeting with the team that he's not coming back this year.
Now he's in trouble.
And but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for San Antonio because they were going in a nice direction with the rookies they had, getting Fox. They were playing pretty well before
It's
that.
not their trend. It's not their time.
No, it isn't. But again, with Fox and Wembyama and Castle as a rookie, they have a really nice little nucleus that they're building there. And you know what? Those are the types of places because San Antonio is a nice city to live in. I've been told. Um, you get young stars like that, you can get guys to maybe come there as a free agent. You know that
Yeah.
missing piece, those kind of
Oh,
guys, right?
with Wemby, that's why
Yeah,
Fox is
yeah,
there.
that's what I mean. But just don't make sure it's not somebody like Bradley Beal, right? Like
No, that's
just
not going to happen.
don't
Come
stick
on.
with that.
Look, I
So
mean, honestly, just because you got money doesn't mean you're well.
of course,
It should mean that you're smart, but a lot of these owners, it's not about that. Is that their team is worth 8 billion?
I
What's a
know. It's,
$250 million leverage chip? We can always just flip his chip
yeah.
for other people. He's still in demand, believe it or not. There's still 4 or 5 teams that would take that dude.
And then you
There's
got
probably 2 teams that will take
sure,
Big Africa.
sure. Well, I hope it's not the Raptors.
God
So,
no, God
and then
no.
you got the Pelicans and the Jazz. Um, Slim down Zion, he looks pretty good. Um, again, when I have to watch a dude like that do the dunk that he did the other night in a game on a breakaway, it's like enter the slam dunk contest, asshat. You're supposed to be just because you're making millions, you're supposed to be selling this league as well. Get in the dunk contest. You, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, quit telling all of us how great you are and put it on the big stage like that, like all the other greats have done. Because when I got to watch that crap in a game and these guys never go in that contest, it pisses me off
Yeah,
because
obviously, we've said it many times. But Trent, we're at believe it or
yeah,
not, an hour 13 minutes. It's been a
yeah,
great episode.
yeah, man.
Is there anything else you want to share with us before we sign off for today?
Nope, I got that out of me. I've got it out of my system.
Excellent. I mean, you did a great job. Really enjoyed the episode today, and just
Sorry about
wanted
the
to say
technical difficulties, everybody, but
yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's frozen. Hopefully, you see it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we had the content. We were in the right groove, and sometimes technology gets in the way. But
yep,
hopefully, you understand. If you enjoy this content, you enjoy the show, and you'd like to come back and watch further shows, we'd really appreciate it if you would take the opportunity in the bottom right hand corner of the visual, you guys in your home or TV or mobile, whatever you're watching, is a subscribe red button. Just roll your mouse over it, hit subscribe,
doesn't cost you
and hit a like. What was that, Trent? Sorry.
doesn't cost you anything.
No, it's free, and we really appreciate it. We got 41 subscribers. We're up 20 from when we started 16 episodes ago, and we only have until 500 to get to monetization. But at the end of the day, if you enjoy we enjoy what we're doing. So,
Yeah, that's what matters.
and hopefully that shows. And the end of the day, we do an episode every week. We follow the NBA. This is the 18th week of the NBA. This is 17th episode. Trent, good job today. Really happy. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show, with the co-host of the most, Mr. Trent ROWLEY, and my other co-host with the most, Johnny Leister, and the first iteration of all things Canadian. Soon to come, all real estate from Paul Bale and guests is the third iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. As we grow, we will max out there and just focus on those three: pop culture, basketball, and real estate, and keep on pumping out content. We really appreciate everybody's time. I know it's valuable. And if you'd like to comment, like, subscribe. In the meantime, Trent, thanks very much. I will talk to you sooner than later, and I will sign out right now. Take care, everyone. Peace, love, and happiness.